Auburn that hits all the home runs.
Good morning and welcome to Today in LA. My name's Mike Amos, and his name is Bill Rice, and his name is Forrest Lee. We start a Wednesday. Good morning to you guys, and thank you so much for being my partner.
Welcome back, Mike.
It's so nice to know that when you're away, you got guys that did very nicely.
Amicably?
Yeah, that's what I was trying to come out with. But you guys tell us about what's been going on.
Well, Forrest always does his great show prep, so
Shortage of toilet paper in Auburn, Alabama. Breaking news. As they rolled the corner.
I bet they did.
Yeah. They beat Oregon State last night, 4-3. Congratulations. So we got 4 Southeastern Conference teams in the Final 8 at Omaha, and they all play in the West. You got Ole Miss, Auburn, Arkansas, and the other one is Texas A&M.
You know what? So and they're going to knock each other out on it.
Right. And if you look at it, Oklahoma and Texas are there as well. So we got them in the farm system coming up for the Southeast.
Yeah, that would be 6 of the 8 from the SEC, but for half the field from the SEC.
Wow. Well, all you got to do is say put Blake Burkhalter in the ball game, and you've got a great pitcher. It's the Dothan Star pitcher from pitching for Auburn yesterday. Retired the last 8 the Trojans.
Pitching Morgan.
The Tigers went on and
War Eagle. That's right.
War Eagle. You're right, Mike. War Eagle.
Taking my sister off. I hope she made it through. She has a hard time watching Auburn win big games.
They play Ole Miss Saturday at 7 o'clock Eastern time.
Yes, sir. I get caught down here. Y'all know how to get it out now.
He's getting that Auburn Tiger out. You got Oklahoma will play Texas A&M Friday at 2. Notre Dame versus Texas Friday at 7 p.m. All these are Eastern Standard Time. Arkansas will play Stanford Saturday at 1 o'clock. And the Tigers from the Plains of Auburn will take on Ole Miss Saturday at 6 p.m.
Ladies and gentlemen, how about it?
Whoever that Auburn relief pitcher was, they got wiped out.
He's from Dothan, Mike.
Played at Northview.
Played Northview.
In Tennessee, when Choate against Notre Dame, we'd have 5 out of 8.
Well, we got
the World Series got 4 out of 8. That's got to be a record.
Well, what about Texas and Oklahoma? You can almost count them.
Yeah. Let's give these Auburn folks a break this morning. Good morning and welcome to the Auburn Tigers, ladies and gentlemen. As they have advanced to the Big Bend, to Omaha, Nebraska, as the Tigers defeated Oregon State, and they are now on their way to hopefully a national championship. Boy, what a great effort it was, and me and Auburn got pitching that you won't believe, and they got another pitcher coming up next year.
They got Sonny the Sheriff, Roland Mickey the Sheriff,
Yeah.
Michael the Sheriff, Mary Lee the Sheriff, distant cousin, I hope.
I bet they come a lot more closer though than they did.
They call him Sonny D, like the drink. He weighs 285 pounds. He had another home run last night.
285 pounds.
I saw him with my own eyes hit one against Troy.
Yeah, he sure did.
The big bumper.
The big bumper. And he thumped Sonny the Sheriff.
Well, and looks like Auburn's going to pick up of the top 10 players named in Alabama in high school sports. Auburn is going to get 3 of them. One of them will be Drew Nelson from Pike Arts. He was the player of the year for the Alabama Independent School Association. They got a kid by the name of Alex Wade from Madison Academy. He's an outfielder. He's the Class 5A player of the year. And they have another player called committed Elliott Bray from Hartselle. He's a pitcher, outfielder, 6A player, and pitcher of the year out of Hartselle. So that's 3 studs that Auburn will get next year.
And so, and of course, we didn't, I would say Drew, I'd take Drew Nelson over there. If Drew would come to Troy right now, I'd take him over all those guys. But he's already signed with Auburn.
Well, this story, Drew made the Super All-State team. He was the Gatorade Player of the Year, too. But I like this stat. They said that in 7 innings, Drew averaged 15.1 strikeouts per 7 innings. So he averaged more than 2 strikeouts every inning.
Let me take a look at that info real quick.
Well, another thing, he was named All-State Player. He's the Gatorade Player of the Year in baseball for the state of Alabama. Player of the Year in the Alabama Independent School Association. Pitcher of the Year. First team All-State, along with Casey Eubanks of Pike Arts. He was a shortstop. Second team, congratulations to Press Jeff Coate. He's a senior. And Darrell Lee, their second team All-State players. And honorable mention, Casey Bradford. He will return next year. He played second base. And Jaden Jordan, he's a senior. He was an outfielder. So you had 6 players from Pike Arts make the All-State team. And I've got others, if you want to go around, I can mention those other local players that were named All-State.
We will. And of course, I was looking at these top players, the top 5 players in the state. This Riley Quick is the big, the pitcher from, he's a pitcher from here in Trustful. And, they've got Drew Nelson, the third man in line. I tell you this, that would be a deal right there between Chip Quick and Nelson. Then Elliot Bray is that other pitcher from here, from Hartsville. Everybody knows how good the Hartsville program is. But and then Wade from you can call these guys out. This one, Wade is from Madison Academy, and the other guy in the top 5 is Zane Stokes from Mobile Christian. And
there's the other 5. There were 10. There's the other 5 right there in their schools.
Hartsville had 2. That was another guy.
They won the state in 6A. Hartsville did.
Very good.
Bayshore won 1A. GW Long again 2A. Trinity of Montgomery 3A. They had a lot of all-state players. Mobile Christian out of Mobile won 4A. Nelsonville 5A, Hartsville 6A, and Central Phoenix City was a 7A champion in baseball in the state of Alabama this year.
I noticed that we had quite a few underclassmen on that deal too. So, I tell you, this stadium was packed full of great baseball people.
They didn't have baseball in 2020, the season got canceled, so now Auburn's been to the College World Series, I think 3 times. They lost let's see, in 2019, didn't have a season in 2020, so yeah, 3 out of the last 3 years.
That is something, I tell you. Auburn is, and then Alabama, the guy that's going to lead Alabama is that top pitcher, the quick kid, so Alabama had
if he doesn't get drafted,
yeah. This kid from Hartsville named Manziel was committed to Alabama, and I was trying to find
he's only a junior, so he has to wait another year.
Yeah, but you're right.
I think Drew committed to Auburn when he was a junior.
Yeah. And of course, Drew Nelson, congratulations to him and all the honors that he has received. And I tell you what, it's been, for us, I don't know, and I know you've got some information to give us this morning, and I wanted to touch base on how many kids have been in Troy, Alabama in the last 2 weeks. It's the most phenomenal thing I think I've ever seen. And how did Troy, were they out of their boredom and whatever, most of these kids spend night on, girls' state, boys' state. That right there is 600 kids right there.
Well, the 7-on-7 that they had, I don't believe they spent the night, but they spent money in Troy, Alabama.
They sure did.
And there were oodles. I think there were over 40 teams that Charles Henderson hosted that 7-on-7. And I believe Charles Henderson finished 5th overall. a team out of Georgia won it, then within the same week, as you mentioned, Girl State and Boy State have gone on, and they were housed several days. And there was another group, a religious group, and there had to be at least 300 or 400 of them that I saw walking, through campus. So it's, when you bid for Boy State or Girl State, or you have people who organize stuff within your athletic camps, they had big man's camp for linemen. I mean, there were helmets everywhere last week in Troy, Alabama. And not counting the youth camp that you had mentioned, that Troy University put on.
I tell you, a tremendous group of young people were coming to Troy, and they were underclassmen. These were people that will make a decision on where they're going to, whether some of them maybe have already, but these are kids that will sit back and take a look at your university, and hopefully they'll come to Troy,
Well, we want them to. They'll have a good experience if they do. It's Alabama's most beautiful college. Not too big. Your faculty and fellow students will get to know you. Why don't you go anywhere else?
One of the prettiest, one of the most aesthetic things that has happened to me in Troy is the development of the golf course or the golf practice facility, and the practice fields and all those loads of dirt that they brought in. I mean, it's just a beautiful ride through there.
It is.
And I mean, there's a way between the Trojan Arena and the golf course, the golf facility. There's a little side road that you can go down there and park and have a picnic and
Where is that now?
It's right there behind. You take a left right there in front of, as you go into your house.
Yeah.
Take a left in front of Charles Simpson High School, and that beautiful road. There's a little side road down in there.
Well, what they did is they built a new road that kind of bypassed the old road, and they left parts of the old road.
Yeah, and you can go in there and park and
I'm
sweet talk your girlfriend.
Trying to figure out where you're
talking. That road is it, what's it called? It runs through the golf course and it runs back towards W.
Oh yeah, I got you. Yeah, they do have that.
They modified that road a year or so ago.
That's up at the top of the hill a little bit, about halfway up the top of the hill.
You come over, they put the roundabout where Lake Lagoon is?
Yeah, that's
well, it goes that way, but it's on the right. It's right there off of sandwiched between the golf course where it used to be.
Yeah, hole number 4. Hole number 4.
Yeah. There's a little side road.
Is Troy University better without the former golf course Trojan Oaks, or worse?
Better.
Would y'all rather have the golf course still?
No, I think that land was too valuable and too pretty, and I like that they really were one of a ton of people playing golf out there anyway. And then they kind of pulled it off. They left enough of it to still have plenty of practice holes.
They have a great.
But they don't teach golf at Troy. Well, I don't know if they teach it or not, but I miss it.
They could teach
but
golf.
what it has done, it's enhanced the Brundage Country Club a lot because they get a lot of play from students out there.
And they've got a fine place to play.
Do y'all miss the bowling alley at the Adams Center? I do.
We're getting one at Troy. Right at Publix, that's what they're building.
How many lanes are they going to have here?
I hope they have at least 16. But now high schools in this area can have a bowling team. You only need about 6 or 10.
Yeah.
I mean, you're talking a 30-mile radius.
Well, you're the coach and you like to bowl.
Shoot.
Let me tell you this, Mike.
It's an opportunity.
My cousin Jerry Renfro is one of the top bowlers in the state with ages 65 and under. He had won the. Did he average
like 250 a game?
Well, no, I don't know what he game. What he does a game now. He is actually over 70 years old now, but as far as bowlers from 70 years old, he's one of the tops in the state.
I could bowl pretty good for a while there when I was a kid, but I tried to go 2 or 3 years ago, and man, I was awful.
I did too. I went with my wife one time a couple of years ago. She beat me.
You can tell when somebody's not used to it was when you drop the ball instead of the ball goes off your fingertips.
I never had any coaching, and my steps are all wrong. You got to get your steps right, and it was embarrassing the last time.
When I taught at Troy Elementary School, we had bowling we had bowling pins and those little rubber balls, so I got some 2x4s and made me lanes. And I set them up, and I taught the kids how to keep the score.
Really?
But we had about 8 lanes, and, I divided the kids up and had a scorecard for each one of them. We play about 3 frames. That was kind of fun.
Yeah.
We had under the pavilion too, and it had I put Trojan lanes and chalk on the concrete.
Yeah. Of course, we've got a lot of other things to talk to you about this morning. One, sort of a tragic news as far as I'm concerned. We had a murder over the weekend, and it was a young man who, Boris, tell us about it.
Well, there was a misfortunate circumstances, I guess, this past weekend in Brundage, and a young man was arrested for murder, and and I'll just leave it at that. I really don't want to mention names, Mike. But it's unfortunate. And he's been arrested. And
well, I think
a high school student?
I don't talk about
that. We never talk about that ever on the show.
We talk about what I want to talk about, Mike, on the show.
We want to talk about this more.
Well, since you're so sensitive about it, we won't. No question about it. But it was a local kid that
right. But I've got some good local news about some All-State players in Enterprise. Will Powell and Drew Shiver were second-team All-State from the Enterprise. In 3A, New Brockton had 2 players All-State baseball, Drew Cashin and Caden Cup. And in 2A, a bunch of them in 2A, G.W. Long, Pitcher of the Year, Blaine McDaniel, Phoenix Griffin from Ayrton, All-State first team. Of course, Blake McDaniel again. Connor Thrash, that's part of the Adams Nuts family. He was All-State from Ayrton. He's just a junior. Jackson Chancey from George W. Long, All-State. Second team, Paxton Steed from Ayrton, Jason Dassinger from G.W. Long, and Caden Collier from Ayrton. Honorable mention was Brant Brady from G.W. Long.
Hold on a second. I catch stuff sometimes.
Okay. A bunch of them. Yeah. All in the same
All
area.
these Ayrton kids. Connor Thrash, Jr., Paxton Steed, Jr., Caden Collier, sophomore. Ayrton's got a lot of good players coming back.
Brantley, guess who was All-State? What player? All-State baseball. Tucker Kilcrease. He was first team designated hitter from the great town of Brantley, Alabama. Congratulations to the Kilcrease, Titletown.
Let me tell you this, y'all. They're not just Titletown with athletics and everything. They're a great school system, and I watched their graduation, the graduation, and watched all the. And the young lady that was a valedictorian, and somebody from Brantley can call me. I was as impressed with that young lady as I've ever been impressed with a young high school kid before. She handled herself with as grace and with class as anybody I've ever seen. She of course did the speech, and she was just literally outstanding. And one of the outstanding students out of a class of. I think something like, I want to say they probably had 40 graduates, and almost all of them were outstanding students,
Right.
And one of those outstanding students will play quarterback for Troy next year. His name is Tucker Kilcrease from Brantley, Alabama, and I was impressed with the way he handled himself. I was so impressed with the way the principal and everybody associated with it.
That's Casey Moore.
Steve, if you get a chance, run that again sometime, and people will watch how well done that graduation was.
Casey Moore is the principal, and her husband, Don, is the head coach at Goshen, but Casey's a local girl. She was Hughes?
Yeah.
Or was she a Campbell? Campbell. But she's kin to Max Hughes, though.
Oh, okay, yeah, I know they're proud. I'm Max, and you're right.
But also...
Her mom used to tutored me when I was growing up, because I was so smart.
Yeah, you're right.
Well, second team All-State for Brantley was Caleb Weed. He's a junior. And, of course, we'll go over Pike Lib again. Drew Nelson and Casey Eubanks both were first team All-State. Press Jeffcoat, Dale Lee were second team All-State. Honorable mention K.C. Bradford and Jaden Jordan, all from Pike Liberal Arts. Drew was the player of the year.
Wait a minute, Jeffcoat was second team? How's that possible?
He's second team All-State. I don't have the whole.
He was good. One reason that's why it happened.
Yeah, I know, but I mean, how is he second team? How is he not first team?
Yeah.
Well, they must have been a couple of other really good pitchers, but I don't know how many pitchers they can put on the All-State first team.
Yeah.
Wow, I'm shocked by that. He was their number one starter.
Well, I'll tell you what he did. He pitched the shutout in the first game of the state final series. You can't get any better than that, can you, Mike?
And let me tell you, his future is big. I'm telling you, he knows how to pitch already as a young man, and he has all kinds of ability, and look for him to be big time one day.
He's going to a junior college down in Pensacola.
Oh yeah, and it's one that I would say that junior college is
one of the best in the country.
One of the best in the country. You're right.
He's got a kid brother named Payne that'll be a junior, and he plays third base. He had a great tournament in the finals against Glenwood.
And he's an outstanding basketball player. So you know, it's still a lot of athletes out of Pike Liberal.
And the Atlanta Braves, 12 games in a row. Dansby Swanson had a great game last night.
Yeah, I noticed he did.
But they lost their second baseman, didn't they, Michael? He broke his foot. Ozzie.
Yeah, that's really bad. Ozzie, he's a great player for the Braves. He's going to be out for maybe the rest of the year.
Yeah.
How did he break his foot?
Coming out of the batter's box, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was a freak accident, but Braves are going to be in trouble trying to replace him. He's probably their best all-around player.
They're 35-27, and of course
what's the team franchise record for consecutive victories? I remember one year they opened the season with
14 is the most ever.
Yeah.
All right, well, getting close.
Well, hey, this before we get away from it, they had a championship basketball game last night. I watched the second half of it and enjoyed it.
Golden State's now up 3-2. Everybody's kind of shocked that Celtics won the first game by 14 at Golden State. Now, Golden State's got a chance to close it out in Boston.
But you know what? They did it.
Celtics win.
Golden State did it without the great performance of Curry.
he had about 10
and you know what? He even went to the dressing room and changed shoes. You could tell he went a long ways in that game without scoring, and he got all uptight and everything. And while he was being uptight, thank goodness his teammates and other folks were putting it into the hoop.
He scored about 14, 16 points, had about 10 assists, but that's the first game in about 233 games he did not have a three-pointer.
I know it. I was wondering, and he was getting that. Yeah. And you could tell he was really getting uptight about it and so forth.
Isn't that amazing? He had gone 232 consecutive games with at least one three-pointer. That's amazing.
He's never, in all his playoff games, he's had a three-pointer. You know, he just relies.
In the NBA, that is a long shot. The NBA three-point line.
But he makes them.
They make it look easy.
He makes it 5 foot behind that. I mean.
He's one of the best long distance shooters probably the game's ever seen. I mean, he's legit good from half court.
But you can tell though, like y'all saying, is even the greatest shooter, and a lot of people say the greatest shooter of all time. You know, even him gets it in his head that the ball's not going to go in the hole.
Well, they play in Boston this Thursday for Game 6, and if it goes to a Game 7, it will be Sunday on the 19th, this Sunday, back at Golden State. But they play in Boston this Thursday.
In the U.S. Open, too. All kinds of sports this weekend.
Yeah.
Oh, I got to look at my BETSs on the U.S. Open. You know, the odds to win or make the top 5 or top 10 or make the cut.
Well, the
Should have got in on Auburn baseball. Auburn in baseball was underdog in every single one of those games, and ended up winning. So you would have won money on Auburn, extra money on Auburn if you had taken them last night.
Yeah, I predicted it on the air on Today in L.A. I said take Auburn.
Yeah. I tell you what, the young pitcher from Burkhalter, the kid from Dothan, was just lights out as he retired the 8 batters in a row. And when you love to know that you got a closer that you can bring in there and he can just shut them all down, you know?
I could tell when they came to Troy that they were good.
Yeah.
But they seem to have real good team chemistry and like each other. And
You know, they're going to play Ole Miss. Ole Miss was number 1 at one time this year, and they kind of had a bad start, and they just kind of got better, heated up. But they're very dangerous, Ole Miss is. And that'll be a great game.
That's going to be fun to watch.
That's a Saturday game at 6 o'clock Central Standard Time.
well, Auburn needs to win the first game. That's in these series. I think Michael has pointed out many times. If you win that first game, if you can win the first 2, you're looking real good.
You know, Auburn has 4 first-class left-handed pitching, and then of course, you know, then they've got the guys, these other great pitchers. You know, I think they were saying Auburn had 8 pitchers that probably will be drafted.
Auburn has 8 pitchers.
I mean, you know, and 8, you know, including. I mean, now, you know, it's a pretty big draft, though. You know, but
Well, they got reinforcements coming next year.
They've got several players that will be drafted.
You got to think Gabe Gross will end up getting a head job soon too with baseball.
And I talked to Gabe before the Troy game when he was here, and you know, that wasn't that long ago. And I said, now you look, I don't want you to ever turn your head around and not stop at Troy, because he would be a great catch for Troy one day. And you know, let me just say, a D1 program. Troy's got a great D1 program. This right here shows me, and I think everybody more, that Troy can play in this league. There's no question about it.
Well, look at the teams.
There's not really a totally superior team.
We had, 3 or 4 teams?
Oh yeah.
From the Sun Belt. It was Coastal Carolina, Texas State, of course Southern Miss, Lafayette.
Georgia Southern hosting a regional. You got beat by Notre Dame.
Boy, that's a lot. You know, that was a great year for the Sun Belt, no question about it.
They all won at least one game.
You know, the great thing about all this, y'all, is that we're going to be able to reap the benefits of enjoying great baseball. We're going to be able to watch great baseball every spring and every summer right here in Troy, Alabama. And,
the crazy thing about college baseball, it lasts almost till July.
Yeah, I know. But you know, and you know, some great players out there too, still to be recruited and so forth, and hopefully we'll get our share.
Well, talking about recruiting,
Troy just needs to recruit a bunch of GW Long kids.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, that pitcher is. I'm sure this pitcher must be awfully good if he's the number 1 pitcher in class. What, 3A?
2A.
2A. All right, 2A now.
And speaking of Troy University, they landed some great tennis players, from international tennis players. They're just loaded, and you know, it's amazing how we're just internationally sound as
You know what, it's
comes to
rare
in some sports.
Here's what's rare. You find you a college tennis player that is from America. I've written lots of stories and spent a lot of time covering the Blue Gray Tennis Classic in Montgomery. One of the premier college tennis tournaments in the country for a long time, and there's just no, I mean, there'd be 8 teams come in every year, and I mean, you very, very, very seldom saw any of these tennis players that were from America. They're from every country in the world.
Well, we got Coach Vargas from University of Auburn at Montgomery. He's one of the tennis coaches.
Mrs. Vargas was Maggie's teacher this year. She did. We appreciate Miss Vargas.
And you know something good about this, though? They finally got a scoreboard out there. You can go to a tennis match and you can see a score, and they've got this big, nice-looking scoreboard. I think that is going to really help their program out too.
Well, let's mention who it's named after.
All right,
Jimmy Lunsford.
The Lunsford Tennis Complex,
Man,
and of course,
what a guru. Troy.
One of my all-time favorite people, if not the all-time people in Troy, Alabama, was Jimmy Luntz. I tell you, one of my
I met
dear
him
friends.
while I was in the National Guard, and he would come over and visit Grady Stevens and Roy Sanders, and Magnus Starling would roll in, and Donald Kelly.
Yeah, oh yeah, he had worlds of good friends, you know, at the Army.
Right.
You know, years ago you used to buy other things at the Armory. If you were a smoker, you could buy cigarettes there if you wanted to.
You could get gas at a
You
very
could
good
buy
discount. The good
out there,
gas.
Yeah, that's right.
Alex Roy Sanders, we called him A.R. Star, Bo, and Lucille. A.R. for Alex Roy.
Yeah. She was a class lady too. She was a beautiful lady.
Well, his wife was Reba.
Yeah.
But we called Roy A.R. Star, Bo, and Lucille. Star was his horse. Bo was one of his bulldogs. Lucille was one of his bulldogs. So that was his nickname. A.R. Star, Bo, and Lucille Sanders.
Of course, this show is brought to you by the Withington Agency. You're in good hands with Allstate. See Perry Green at the Withington Group right here in Troy, and we appreciate them. And of course, we also want to mention Bird Drugs on the corner of downtown Troy. What a great breakfast, and I've missed it the last few days. And I'm hope to be getting back there. I love their breakfast at Bird Drugs.
What's it like to have your freedom again, man?
Oh, I tell you, it's great. You know, I'll be honest with you. I was able to move around the outskirts of my home, and I was able, if I wanted something to eat, I could go to a drive-in and get something to eat.
So you weren't completely homebound.
No, I wasn't. And then, at one time I had people bring me food from sisters, and Forrest called me and asked me what I wanted, and he's very, very. I tell you, he comes through for everybody. As far as
I offered him Klondike bars, but he said he was good.
See, I love those Klondike bars, but they said the medicine I was taking, you didn't supposed to have dairy products, so that was messing me up that time. Yeah, but I did have a real good bunch of people that were helping me, and of course my wife is now doing okay. She's passed the test, and we're ready to go. And of course I felt good for the last 2 or 3 days, but I just want to give it another extra day just in case, you know.
Yes.
But it's been good, and of course I'm sure not taking anything for granted, because my wife got sick and I got pretty sick, but I wasn't near as sick as she was, but she's now just doing great, and everybody's doing great.
Well, I watched I don't keep up with the COVID case numbers like I used to, but the drug report gives the current number of official cases. For June 12th, there were 114,000 confirmed cases in America. What struck me is it also shows right beneath that the number of cases there were a year ago on the same date. This is the 7-day average. It was 14,000. So I did the math. It's 7.5 more cases this year than last year. And they're not even testing people like they did. I mean, y'all. I mean, you go to the doctor and they won't give you a test. So the real number of cases is probably much higher than 114,000.
I had to wear a mask yesterday.
Kids had possibly been one of our kids' vacation Bible school classes, and they didn't even cancel vacation Bible school. They just left it open.
I'm glad. Last year, my wife worked so hard on vacation Bible school. And they had plays and everything. They did it for 2 days, and then somebody tested positive, and then they canceled the whole thing. Which I can understand, I guess, but man, that's just a lot of work went down the drain.
Don't you feel like that by taking these shots and everything, that we were much more immune to the virus as we were a year ago?
Ross isn't going to agree with that, Dad.
I know, but a year ago we were
that was my
lot worse than we are now.
Well, my point was the opposite. A year ago, you had 14,000 cases in America, and in the last 12 months, you've had a lot of people getting vaccinated and boosted.
Yeah.
And cases have gone up 8 times. So cases are far higher now that more people are vaccinated. The bottom line, the vaccinations do not prevent infection. I don't care what anybody says.
Well, I'm a perfect example, right? I'm a perfect example. I've actually had 4 shots.
What? I got COVID and I've had 3 shots. I mean, everybody's still going to get COVID. That's
I'll tell you that.
Of course, you've had it, haven't you? And you've got COVID after the vaccine. Mm-hmm. Forrest has been vaccinated. He's had COVID.
Yeah.
Michael's been vaccinated. He's had COVID. Mike's been vaccinated. He's had COVID. Carol's been vaccinated. You know who has not had COVID?
still right.
And have I been vaccinated?
Yeah.
I had it.
I tell you what, I'll tell you right now. I tell you right now. I want to knock on wood, buddy, in a hurry, but for you, right? Because you can sure do it. I'll tell you this right now. If I had not taken the shots, I would probably be dead.
Well, that's
I believe it is that strong that you need to take the shot and you be vaccinated. And
good morning. You're on Today in L.A.
Hey, Will Matthews, how you doing?
Hey, Mr. Will.
Hey, guess who's joining us this morning?
Good morning, Will Matthews, and of course.
I know. You know how I knew?
How?
Facebook. I could call in today.
Oh yeah, yeah, that's right.
Yeah, well, he was on the line yesterday.
Yeah,
I know it. You couldn't call in.
Well, he looks great. Did you lose any weight, or you?
No, I didn't have any of that. That it had nothing to do with that.
Your appetite? You had your appetite?
Yeah, I had my appetite the whole way, and of course, again, I'm not saying I wasn't sick, but I was not near as sick as my partner.
Why I think I haven't had it is I think I had COVID in January 2020, which is just 2 months before, a month and a half before official COVID.
Yeah.
And I was sick as a dog. Yeah. And for a week, I barely got out of bed. So if Carol had anything like I had, just bless her heart.
Well, I'll tell you this. If I was you, I would be vaccinated. I think the vaccination has really saved a lot of lives.
If he would have got the vaccination, he would have got it years ago, Dad. I think he probably feels pretty good about it now.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
But I did hear a rumor I want to get cleared up. I heard a rumor. I heard a rumor you and Carol were coming back from the beach. You got stopped by a Florida highway patrolman, and there were 5 pink Thomas Donut boxes in the back.
No, but hey, I did take advantage of those donuts, and
they're the only 2 people in the world, Will, that leave the beach. They're looking at the Gulf of Mexico, the most peaceful setting ever, but they want to get back to Troy instead of staying at a condo. I would have stayed at the condo.
Well, they had some people looking in on them in Troy, like Forrest Lee. So
you're right.
They had their dear son down here looking at them.
Now he really did help me.
I would open the door, drop stuff off, and run away.
He did that and did a wonderful job. He was a great. He did a great job for his parents. I promise you.
All right, we got the great Will Matthews on, former All-SEC golfer at Vandy. Will Matthews has played every golf course I know. Have you played Brookline in Boston? I have not, but I'll tell you who has. Colin McCrary played the U.S. Amateur there in 1982.
All right, Colin, that is up close and personal right there.
Yep. I did not qualify that year because I was getting married, so I didn't even try to.
You mean you put marriage before golf?
I had to.
Oh boy!
So it's a course that everybody says is going to be extremely difficult. So I would imagine the winner of the U.S. Open will probably be plus, not minus. Well, the last time it was there, 6 under tied. So wow, that's a lot better than I thought then. Huh. Yeah, Nick Faldo and Curtis Strange had a playoff the next day, which is 18 holes. Right, and Strange shot even par, and Faldo shot 2 or 3 over, I think. I don't know why I can remember that, but I do.
Well, who's going to win it this weekend? Who you think's the top 3 choices?
I know who I would love to see win it. One of those live golfers. Yeah, I would too. I'd love to see Dustin Johnson win it.
I'm going with Rory McIlroy. He's been playing really good.
pretty consistently for about the last year.
Yeah, you gotta like the speed too. He's been pretty good. Justin Thomas has been playing great.
Justin Thomas played great.
He really is.
I'll be surprised if Mickelson even makes the cut. He looks awful. I watched that live tournament online. I watched it on my computer, and he was awful putting. I mean,
Who won that golf tournament?
Charles Schwartzel won. The guy that won the Masters.
Yeah, okay.
It's
A long time ago he won the Masters, didn't he?
Yeah, he won $4 million for winning the tournament, and then he won $750,000 because his team won the tournament too.
You know,
Oh boy.
$5 million.
Yeah.
Phil struggled with his interview about all that stuff. You know,
He did.
Tell us about how the money was divided.
Well, last place in the live tournament, there's 48 guys won $120,000.
So 48 people won 120,000. Okay.
And the guy
who finished last
shot in the 80s 2 or 3 days.
Yeah,
Oh,
he
man.
shot plus 24, I think.
And he won $120,000.
Yeah.
You know, also Robbie Shelton, the kid from Mobile, when he was on the tour, he was on Alabama's national championship golf team. He won the Corn Ferry Tour tournament. So now Robbie Shelton will be back on the team.
All right, here it is. Robbie shot a 63. Robbie shot 63. Will, you know him, don't you?
One day he shot 61.
All right, really 61? God.
He's been on the PGA Tour before, hasn't he?
Yeah, he's still on it, I think.
Yeah.
No, he's.
Well, did you watch the Canadian Open? I mean, Justin Rose, you never see this. This guy was about to maybe shoot a 58 or a 57. He was 11 under with 3 holes to play and bogeyed 2 out of the last 3 and ended up shooting 60. But that I've never seen a guy have that better of a chance to shoot 59.
Oh yeah, he played a great round.
You know, let me tell you this. That would be a pretty good name to pick next week too. You know, he's red hot.
But in the last group, Rory shot a 62, and Justin Thomas and the other guy, Finau, shot 64.
Shot 64. Yeah, that was a great tournament. With all this going on, the PGA Tour couldn't ask for more than that. You know, all these guys are leaving and jumping to the Live Tour, and you had that kind of finish on Sunday. You know, Thomas and McIlroy were tied with 2 holes to go, and Thomas hit a horrible tee shot off 17.
Michael, what's going to happen to these Live players? There's only 48 of them on the thing, and they've got 4 or 5 new ones coming in. Who gets knocked out?
I'm sure they knock out some of these guys from some of these tours you never heard of. I mean, they had a bunch of guys playing. I'd never even heard of their names. You know, from the Asian Tour and European Tour. I'm sure the more established names will end up playing. Yeah, Patrick Reed's playing now, won a major. Bryson DeChambeau is the best young player. And they got been on PGA Tour for like 22 years. I mean, they're going to keep on adding more guys. Bub Watson.
Yeah, how did Bubba do?
But Bubba blew out his knee. He can't play right now.
He didn't.
He's coming.
I didn't know Bubba was hurt.
Yeah. But he's going to play on it, though.
Yeah.
Well, they play again the 30th of June in Portland, Oregon. That's the next Live tournament in Portland, Oregon, June 30th through July the 2nd.
That's where Auburn just came from.
As long as they can play the majors, though, I would imagine next year they'll probably expand it to about 15 events, and if you can play all 4 majors, I mean, you're not really missing out on that much.
Did they say now that they could play the majors?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, they're playing Mickelson's playing the U.S. Open this week. Dustin
Well, that's
Johnson's
good, yeah.
there. Sergio's there. Kevin Na's there. I mean,
there are 12 Live players in the U.S. Open.
12 real players. Let me hear who they are.
Only tournament you wouldn't be able to play is what the players.
Yeah, they couldn't play the play.
You know, but that's going to change because the criteria to get in these majors is how you do on the PGA Tour. You know, if you're so high on the money list or et cetera,
Well, if these guys quit playing the PGA Tour event, they're going, all their little exemptions that get them in these majors are going to disappear.
Yeah. We're going to take a break. We'll be right back with more of Today in LA.